Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's council meeting. Firstly, council acknowledges the traditional owners of these lands, waters and skies, the Wadawurrung people. We acknowledge and respect their continuing connections to the lands, waters, skies, culture and the contribution they make to the life of our community. We pay respect to their past and present elders and their emerging leaders and extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples tonight. Item 2, President apologies. All councillors are present. Mr CEO, any apologies?
We have an apology. Excuse me, through you, Mr Mayor. We have an apology from Philip Carruthers, the General Manager of Organisational Performance and Community Services.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Item 3, councillors, do we have any conflicts of interest?
Yes, I do, Mr Mayor. I have conflict of interest being in close proximity to 7 Mercer Street.
Sorry, 7
Mercer Street.
7 Mercer
Planning
Street.
scheme.
Thanks to Councillor Goodgar. I will also note that I have 2 conflicts of interest in tonight's agenda. Item 2018/079 81 Nelson Road, and also item 2020-046 61 75 Murray Road, due to the close proximity to where I live. Thank you, Mr CEO.
No conflicts from the officers.
No from the officers. Thank you. Item 5, public question time. 5.1, public question status update. There are no public questions outstanding. 5.2, we have 2 public questions tonight. The first public question is from Mr. William Pring. It actually does refer to our SERP, which is on the agenda tonight. So I actually will delay this public question to ask until we've dealt with item 13.1 on tonight's agenda. Public question 2 is from Kathy Smith. I'm not too sure if Kathy's in the audience here, but she may be watching online, or she might be actually out on the side street here in the park as well. So now that the traffic calming measure at the corner of Hobson and Gellibrand Streets has been completed, there appears to be little discernible difference in the speed that traffic is travelling north and south along Gellibrand Street. In answer to my previous question at the 28th of April meeting, Council proposes in the 21-22 budget a new initiative associated with traffic in Queenscliff. Furthermore, the Queenscliff traffic study will look at a number of issues, including speed and movement through Council's street network after analysis takes place. My question to Council is, what is the new initiative? What date has been set for the new initiative and analysis to take place? And what measures will Council take place in the meantime to decrease speed limits in Gellibrand Street? To answer that, Kathy, Council has allocated $20,000 in the 21-22 budget as a new initiative being to conduct a traffic study, vehicle movement, volume and speed within the Queenscliff road network. Once the new budget is adopted, this traffic study will be scheduled and is likely to occur in the first 6 months of the new financial year. Council does not intend changing any speed limits in Gellibrand Street, as we will wait until this study is completed and we have its recommendations. So as I mentioned, I will come back to the first question from Bill Pring after we deal with item 13.1. Councillors, item 6, confirmation of council minutes. Can I just note that I do have an amendment to this recommendation. I'd like to note a change to 14.1. This is with the previous minutes on the planning permit activity report. Planning permit application 2021-039 for Beach Street, 6 Beach Street was not listed on the report. At the time the agenda was finalised on Friday, 23rd April, Council had not been advised by VCAT that an appeal had been lodged. The notice of decision to refuse a grant a permit was dated 25th of February 2021, reflecting Council's decision on the 17th of February 2021. The 60-day time limit to lodge a request with VCAT expired on the 26th of April 2021. Thus, application 2021-039 should have still been listed on the planning report for the April council meeting and will be listed in future planning reports until a VCAT decision is made. So the change to the recommendation, councillors, is that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of council of the Borough of Queensland held on 28th of April 2021 as distributed, as amended, be confirmed as an accurate record. Can I get someone to move that, please?
I will move that.
That's moved by councillor Salter, seconded councillor Hewitt. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 7, record of assembly of councillors. Councillors, just note, I do have another amendment to this one. And just please note the change. I'd like to note a change to the record of assembly held on 11th May, page 61 of the agenda, in regards to the meeting with the QCA. Martin, the CEO, and I met with several members of the QCA, being David Kenwood, David Connolly, Joan Lindros, and Kathy Bond. My fellow councillors did not attend. Andrew Sutherland and Judd Epstein were not present. So I move that the record of assembly of councillors presented at adjunct to item 7 as amended be noted. Move councillor Salter, second councillor Hewitt. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 8, notice on motion, that we have no notice on motions received, as in 8.2. Item 9, petitions and joint letters. We have no petition and joint letters. Item 10, councillors, there's a list there of functions attended. As you can see, we're slowly moving out of the Zoom and the Teams world, and we're actually getting back to seeing people in person. So there is a list of activities that were councillors and the CEO attended. Can I get someone to move that? Councillor Hewitt, seconded. Councillor Grigal, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 11, no reports to consider. Item 12, local economy. 12.1, tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine Incorporated Memorandum of Understanding and Corporate Plan. I'll refer to Program Leader Shannon Maloney. Thanks, Shannon.
The purpose of this report is for council to consider continuing partnership with the region's tourism industry, entering into a 4-year memorandum.
Sorry, Shannon. Is your mic on?
Excuse me. I'll repeat myself. Thank you, Mayor Ebbels. The purpose of this report is for council to consider continuing its partnership with the region's tourism industry by entering into a 4-year memorandum of understanding with Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine. Council is also asked to consider and note the corresponding tourism and Greater Geelong corporate plan. I will take the report as being read. However, in summary, the recommendation in this report furthers council's strategic objective to foster a diverse and vibrant local economy. The Borough of Queensland is a founding partner and party to a memorandum of understanding with the Regional Tourism Authority since its formation in 2014. The purpose of Tourism Geelong and Bellarine is to build a resilient, sustainable and valued visitor economy that celebrates the character and identity of the region. Tourism Geelong and the Bellarine is the official regional tourism board as outlined by the state government agency Visit Victoria. The current MOU expires 30th of June. A new 4-year MOU has been prepared and has been presented. Council officers consider that Tourism Geelong and Greater Bellarine continues to play a crucial role in the region and continues to successfully represent the local tourism industry and the Borough of Queenscliff. Through its partnership approach, Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine maximises opportunities that provide value for industry and supports the growth of the local visitor economy. The recommendation for you tonight is to 1, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to enter into the MOU with Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine for a 4-year period from 1 July to 30th June 2025 and note the corresponding Tourism Greater Geelong and Bellarine corporate plan. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. I might just get someone to move in second, then we take questions.
I will move that.
Move councillor Salter, second councillor Hewitt. Any questions for?
Yes.
Sure. Yep.
It's just asking regarding the public relations support. What businesses other than the Queensland Gallery, or what other businesses, ratepayers in the borough benefited from the public relations support?
Just refer to
Is there
that,
any-
Councillor Grigor, in the report. Excuse me for a moment.
Page 16.
Yes, thank you. So we had the RACV Royal Auto feature, which featured a variety of different experiences. Sorry?
Ratepayers, business ratepayers actually benefited from being in the scheme.
So the tourism organisation represents the borough as a whole,
Yes.
from its experiences from natural assets to experiences with the water and so forth. It also specifically features businesses that are members of the Tourism Association. So off the top of my head, we have about 80 members from the borough that are members of the Regional Tourism Association. So a number of them would be ratepayers. I don't know specifically which ones would be specific ratepayers right now, but I can certainly take that on
So I
notice.
can take that on notice?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shannon, can I just ask how, obviously Tourism Geelong and the Bellarine is a regional body. How, because obviously we have yourself and some officers and obviously we run our own information centre as well. I'm just asking, how do we relate and work with our regional tourism body?
So we meet with all the regional officers about every 6 to 8 weeks, usually following the board meeting, to get an update from the executive team there about their initiatives and activities such as marketing or industry development, the business events area, membership status of a lot of businesses, and as well as just regular ad hoc meetings when opportunities might arise that we need to be informed of, or something that involves our destination specifically.
Yeah. So there's a good two-way dialogue.
A very
there.
positive
Yeah.
and healthy relationship
Sure.
between the two organisations.
Because can I just add that I think we get extraordinary value out of our partnership with Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine. I think our contribution is about 0.5 of 1% of actually the overall budget. So I think it's fabulous. And both ourselves and Golden Plains, who are also part of the MOU, I think it's good to point out that the money we contribute to that MOU doesn't pay for any of the staff at Tourism Greater Geelong. They're all actually, and Bellarine, they're all paid by actually the City of Greater Geelong.
Yeah.
And I think, to a certain degree, we're certainly punching above our weight because if you look at I know with the website figures, and I know they're in your report, but the website with the views, we've got 24,679 views, which is an extraordinary amount of views. I think it's fabulous that we get that. It's the highest of all destination pages, including Geelong. Queenscliff alone by itself is the second highest rating destination behind Port Arlington. So maybe we need to knock Port Arlington off, but I think we're doing quite well. And also in regards to the social media, for example, in the last 3 months, I noted that there's been 71,000 video views on the Greater Than site for the Tourism Greater Geelong social media site. Queenscliff and Point Lonsdale account for 19.5 thousand of those views, which is 27%. And also of the 6,000 clicks, Queenscliff and Point Lonsdale account for 1.8 thousand. So 30% of those clicks actually come through to our sites as well, which is fabulous. And as Councillor Grigor mentioned, we do have 80 members, and we'll certainly take that on notice. Councillor Grigor, just who are the actual ratepayers of those members here. But yeah, thank you for your detailed report. I think it's a fabulous report, and hopefully we look forward to continuing our relationship with Tourism Greater Geelong and the Bellarine. Any other councillors wish to make a comment? No? Okay. Thank you. So we'll put it to the vote. We do have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Item 13, Environmental Sustainability, 13.1 Borough of Queensland Climate Emergency Response Plan. I'm going to ask Rebecca Petit-Bramwell to give us a report. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, councillors. I've got to stand over here. The Borough of Queenscliff Climate Emergency Response Plan, or CERP, was developed by the community for the community, following council's decision to declare a climate emergency in December 2019. The 8 pillars and structure developed during the CERP community panel sessions provided the framework and vision for the plan, and the 49 actions incorporated in the ideas shared during the community consultation during 2020 to 2021. From waste projects to sustainable transport, the community's ideas have formed the key actions they want the community and council to take together over the next 10 years. The CERP provides a transition to a borough free from energy, transport, community emissions by 2031, aiming for a zero carbon borough by 2031. The CERP considers how each action can be achieved through community partnerships and grants. Finally, the CERP outlines the next steps. Should it be endorsed by council, the first action will be to develop an implementation plan. The implementation plan will detail resourcing implications, funding opportunities, project delivery plans, activity priorities, and governance. The plan will demonstrate key budget requirements, outlining the areas that can be met by council, met by the community, or require state or federal funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. So councillors, we do have a recommendation there. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Moved by councillor Hewitt, second by councillor Salter.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Hewitt is the mover. Would you like to speak to the motion?
First, I'd like to ask a question. Thank you for the report, Ms. Manuel, for all your hard work on this. I'd just like to get an understanding of the timing for the implementation plan.
So the first action, should council endorse or adopt the CERP, would be to get going on the implementation plan, and that will be done in the first 6 months post endorsement.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you like to speak to the motion?
I'd like to speak to the motion. Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Bramwell and Mr. CEO, for all your work on this matter. And thanks to all of you for coming out tonight wearing red. The community backing for action on climate change is profound and unmistakable. I'm delighted to support this recommendation tonight. There's no doubt that climate change is one of the greatest challenges of our time, and we're already encountering unprecedented environmental extremes and volatility. We need to take urgent action to mitigate and adapt. This climate emergency response plan follows Council's declaration of climate emergency in December 2019. It recognises the work that has already been done and is continuing to be done by Council to tackle climate change. It sets ambitious targets for both Council and the community and clear actions which can be undertaken to achieve them. The CERP will be dynamic and subject to regular review. As mentioned by Ms. Petit-Branwell, the next step is a deep dive assessment of the action items, particularly in terms of delivery capabilities, funding and partnership opportunities, culminating in the development of an implementation plan. The CERP is the result of the blood, sweat and tears of many in our community. An overwhelming thank you to Kitty Walker, and the Queenscliff Climate Action Group for heading the climate action movement and being the visionaries behind the plan and for your tireless work in making it a reality. Thank you also to the brilliant community panel for your work in developing and revising the CERP. The many community stakeholder groups who have provided input, the Queenscliff Community Association, the Point Lonsdale Civic Association, the Queenscliff Music Festival, Swan Bay Environment Association, and the and the Queenscliff Environment Forum, the primary and secondary school participants, the community members who provided feedback throughout the extensive engagement processes, the Wadawurrung Traditional Owners Aboriginal Corporation, and Bellarine Catchment Network. Lastly but not least, Ms. Petit-Branwell and Mr. CEO, your dedication to the process has been unwavering. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful for all the hard work you and other council officers have put into this document. The commitment and connectedness across the community to effect change and implement the actions within the plan is breathtaking. This is truly a community-led and community-owned initiative and a legacy for generations to come. Thank you.
Councillors, anyone else like to speak? Councillor Grant, thank you.
Second or third?
I'll second that. Councillor Salter, you can.
Because I knew all the things she was going to say, I'm going to say something different. So in 14 years' time, there will be an acknowledgement of the Second Nations settlement of the Port Phillip district, which will then be 200 years old. Many people have contributed to the development of our community, the townships, the borough, the state of Victoria and the Federation of Australia. And some have been rogues and their names are on our streets. But most have been full of good intentions and love of this place. Tonight, I'm pleased to make yet another contribution to this community. As I moved in December 19 council meeting, I believe climate change is one of the challenges facing this nation at this time. I believe we need to learn from the past, not erase it or change it, but certainly take steps into the future. We need to do this for the children here tonight, though some of them have left, who will be fledged in 2035. So we leave our community a better and more thoughtful place. I look forward to the implementation plan, all the improvements it will bring. I look forward to the economic benefits that the implementation will bring to the fledglings, because it's all about them.
Thank you, Councillor Salter. Councillor Grant.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. So here's the plan as of today. And look, I'm very happy to speak for this. I think this plan does show that science helps us to understand our climate and that action on climate change is not just for governments. We do have some control and therefore responsibility over our own fate. And this plan is about how we live our lives, about how we care for country, how we move about, and how we consume. For each of us, the challenge is to change our mindsets and change our behaviours and so leave smaller footprints. In our borough, if we dare to believe, we can make a difference and also build a stronger sense of our own community. And I thank our community for showing this way forward, and I'm keen to work with you to further develop the implementation plan for achieving our 3 ambitious targets.
Thank you, Councillor Grant. Councillor Guillaume.
I just have a question regarding the report first. As a short term, how many leads do the council have to take for in the report?
I can't quite hear you, Don. Sorry.
How many of the action plans? How many does the council have to lead
There's
on?
34 actions that are directly in council's remit. And then there's some actions there's about 8 actions that we're supporting the community to do, but there's 34 that are around council services.
In short term?
In the short term, I think there's around 10. I'm not sure. I have to double check that in the document.
Take that on notice. And what about in the short term, budgeted wise, what would be the cost in the short term?
That's what the implementation plan will help to work out. But there are actions.
It's already in the document, so we should.
So there are actions already budgeted in the short term, such as the electric vehicle charging stations and ones that have already gone in the draft council budget. So those ones are actually outlined in the SERP, and you can see the figures against them in the document itself.
And
Just for your information, councillors, the costs in the actions within the plan are indicative costs. So
Indicative.
We haven't.
So, okay, then indicative. So we know, we're fully aware of roughly where we're going.
In terms of council,
Yes.
yes, Martin, if you want to add anything to that, but
Yes, thank you. Through your minister. We've done some initial costing work to get these figures that are in the document. As Rebecca has said, we've brought 4 projects to you for this budget, which will cost about $180,000 worth of investment for council. And then we'll bring you much more detailed figures about the next set of short-term projects sometime within the next 6 months, Beck.
Yep.
Because going by my figures and looking at the latest report we only received on Friday, we're just saying that out of the 49 action plans, it's like got 41 are led by the council and 29 of those are short term. So on the low figure, we're looking at 280,000 and on the high terms, we're looking at 830 and 9 of these are actually uncosted. So, and we're fully aware that we will have to make applications or grants to fund these schemes.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, we are. And we certainly make that clear within both the climate emergency response plan itself and in the council report that we've presented to you tonight.
There's actions that will be subject to grant funding
Thank you.
in terms of implementation.
And thank you for those questions, Councillor Grigor. I guess by the time it gets to me, I don't have much left to say that all my fellow councillors have said, but I just, a few things I noted that today the federal government announced they're going to spend $600 million on a gas-fired power plant, which is a real concern to me personally. And I think a lot of people here today would be very concerned about such a statement. And this is why we must use our voice. Our voice may be small, but it's certainly loud. As mentioned in the report, the new state planning policy states that councils must prepare for climate change. This is part of the new 2020 Local Government Act. So we're actually mandated that we need to do this. Even the Department of Health and Human Services under their wellbeing plan states that climate change is both the greatest threat to public health of the 21st century, but it's also the greatest public health opportunity as well. So we need to look at this as an opportunity. Because what we do now will define us as being the state's smallest council, and it's just amazing to see everyone here tonight. And I guess it's something we as councillors probably all expected and great to see. We know business as usual no longer applies, not just to us, but the whole country and to a certain degree, obviously the whole world. Just reflecting that last month we passed a motion to continue providing subsidised aged care to our aged community. Tonight we're possibly going to pass a motion in regards to our climate change emergency response plan. And I guess it's nights like tonight and the last council meeting that pretty much remind us of why we live where we do. And I probably have to stop there. So, councillors, we have a mover and a seconder. Can all those in favour of the motion? Thank you. Unanimous, thank you.
Actually, I'd like to call for.
Mr. Mayor, I actually like to call for a division.
So Jackie, Councillor Grigor has just called for a division. So I will put it to the vote again. And then Councillor, if you can just keep your hands raised until I call out your name. You're ready to go, Jackie? It is recording, so it will help you a little bit maybe. All those in favour? So Councillor Grout, Councillor Salter, Councillor Hewitt, Councillor Eccles. Those against? So Councillor Grigor, you're
abstaining on this.
Yep, thank you. So noted. Thank you very much, everyone. Just be aware, we'd love for you to stay. I know you all stayed last time and enjoyed it. Okay. I just am not too sure if you wanted, I do have a public question time. I just want to address in a minute, but we don't think we need you to hang around for that one. So thank you again for your attendance, and please don't all go. You don't have to go, but thank you. Thank you, councillors and general public. Welcome back, and welcome to those people who have stayed on after
Should we actually speak to our vote?
Sorry?
Are we able to speak to our vote on the matter?
No, we've already voted. It's been settled. Yep. I will refer back to public questions. I did note that we did need to defer one item. So public question number one from Mr. William Pring, the preamble. The council and its officers seem to be assuming that the majority of residents and ratepayers of the borough favour the Climate Emergency Response Plan and its implementation. Given that this plan is a potentially large and expensive extra responsibility for the ratepayers of the borough, the ethical approach would be to harness the council's favourable majority belief by making the SERP budget dependent on a voluntary rate contribution from ratepayers, separate from usual rates returned based on property value, combined with a voluntary donations fund, which is advertised to all residents and adjacent to the borough and advertised to all visitors to the borough. Climate change grants from other bodies could also be used in this budget. Mr. Pring's question, in implementing the SERP policy, will council commit to a reoccurring SERP budget comprised of the annual income from voluntary ratepayer contributions, voluntary donations from local residents, and from visitors to the borough, and climate change grants from other bodies? The answer is no, we won't. In the performance of its role, the Local Government Act 2020 requires council to mitigate and plan for climate change risks. As with other legislative requirements in the Act, rates from all ratepayers contribute to meeting council's legislative responsibilities. Different actions within the plan will be funded in different ways, including seeking grants from other levels of government, user pays initiatives like solar bulk buys, and council's own funds. Where council is used to implement actions, these funds will come out of general revenues and not be the subject of a particular levy. Everyone in the borough will benefit from taking action on climate change, just as everyone in the borough benefits from well-maintained roads, accessible footpaths, and quality parks and beaches. As where council provides services that benefit everyone, we fund these projects from general rate revenue. We're proud to have developed the draft climate emergency response plan alongside the community, and we're looking forward to working together to make our borough a safer, healthier, more sustainable place for all our residents. Thank you, and thank you again, Mr. Pring, for your question. Councillors, we now move to item 14, Planning and Heritage. 14.1, the Planning and Heritage Report. I'll hand over to the Planning Program Leader, Dinah O'Brien. Thank you, Dinah.
Thank you, Mayor Ebbels. If I may take you to page 29 of your council agenda. You can see on page 29 that the purpose of this report is to present a record of planning permit activity in the Borough of Queensland since it was last reported at last council meeting. We've got, according to the table, 26 current applications. Since the last time we reported, we finalised 8 planning applications. We've received 7 new applications, which gives us a total number of active permit applications of 33. We've got 2 decisions awaiting review by VCAT, and currently we have 1 development plan and planning scheme amendment summary report in front of us to be assessed and determined. So the officer recommendation is that the planning permit activity report be received. Thank you, Mayor Ebbels.
Thank you very much, Dinah. Councillor, do we have a mover and a seconder for the report? Move Councillor Grout, seconded by Councillor Hewitt. All those in favour? Thank you. Any discussion, Councillor Grout, portfolio holder?
No, look, I'd just like to further move another motion.
Certainly, yep.
So the council received briefings on the following applications, please, because of community interest and individual heritage listing. So referring to 2021/035, which is 26 Stoke Street in Queenscliff.
Yep. Thank you. Just the one? Yep. Yep. Thanks to Councillor Grout. So Councillor Grout has moved that. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Hewitt, thank you. Any discussion? No? All those in favour?
All right.
Thank you. So moved. Item 15, Governance and Performance. 15.1, G21 and AFL Barwon towards 2030 strategy. I'll pass over to the CEO, Mr. Gill. Thank you, Mr. Gill.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and Philip apologise that he can't be here to present this report to you. I'll just note that the purpose of the report is to note the draft of the G21 and AFL Barwon towards 2030 strategy, which looks at the future of football over the next AFL football over the next 10 years in the region. The second part of the recommendation there is that we exhibit the draft strategy for a period of 6 weeks to get community feedback. That'll include speaking with the clubs in the borough to make sure that they have an opportunity to feed back to the strategy. I'll take the report generally as read. Happy to answer questions, and I'll hand it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Do I have a mover for that motion?
Happy to move it.
Councillor Salter, seconded. Councillor Grigel. Anyone like to speak or ask questions for the CEO? No? Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So moved. Thank you, Mr. CEO. Item 15.2, Ballerine Rail Trail, Murray Road, Queenscliff. Refer to the CEO, Mr. Gilligan. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there's two important components to this report, and back in June 2019, Council resolved to do some work on the rail trail, well, the Ballerine Rail Trail between Murray Road and the existing trail at the end of Fellows Road. Subsequent to that report, to that decision, Council has gone into some detailed design and working with community have identified that there is some very sensitive vegetation on the northern side of Murray Road. And as such, we've brought back to you a recommendation here that we don't proceed with the preferred design option and that we go to the community to talk about some other options that still deal with the key issues, which are speeding, the safety of pedestrians and cyclists on Murray Road. So happy to take questions, Mr. Mayor, but I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, Mr. CEO.
I'm happy to move this.
Moved by Councillor Salter, seconded Councillor Grout. Do we have any questions or any comments? No, I'll just add that obviously I live close to Murray Road, and I think the important thing is that the officers and our engineering team have certainly listened to our community as well, and also to I think it was the Ballerine Catchment Network as well, had input to that. So thank you very much to our community who have helped us in this regards. And we realise that those northern swales are certainly part of the environment that we need to protect. So we do have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So moved. Item 15.3, new council website. Communications Officer Matt Gibbs. Thank you for joining us, Matt.
We don't recognise you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor. Yes, nice to get dressed up. The purpose of this report is to advise Council of the publication of a new website for the Borough of Queenscliff. So as you would know, early last year, Council officers began investigating the possibility of moving to a new website following an independent report that highlighted security issues with the existing architecture. After gaining quotes from 3 separate Australian local government website providers, Council signed a service contract with Melbourne-based Open Cities in late 2020. Officers then undertook a process of reviewing, restructuring and migrating content to the new system. And this coincided with a shift in focus to make the website more customer-oriented alongside subsequent staff training. Council's communication team achieved practical completion of the new website in April 2021, and it is now available on the live web. Council officers will continue to improve and innovate on the new site with the current focus on helping customers complete more tasks and make payments through the website. Mayor, Councillors, officer recommendation is that Council note the report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Do we have a mover? Move Councillor Hewitt, seconded.
Yep.
Councillor Salter. I don't think we can let Mr. Gibbs get away without asking some questions.
Can you just let us know when will all the historic documents be migrated to the new website?
Yes, would you like an outline of which documents have been?
Do you know a rough timing? When will it be completed?
Yeah, so we've just completed uploading all of the previous council meetings, agendas and minutes back to around October 2016. So all of the current council, previous council and their sort of induction. And we have every single form on there currently, and our main goal in the next 2 or 3 months is to divert those to digital forms.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Gibbs, I just want to ask, I note when you first released the website in regard to the event side of thing, I think when I first looked at it, I only had a few, but I did note when looking today, you've added more, and I presume that's about process and just adding more information as that comes and as we get used to using the new website as well.
Yeah, that's correct, Mr. Mayor. We've sort of joined forces with the VRC who have been taking up that officer sort of role of uploading events to the site. And we've also included a digital form on the events calendar page where any members of the public can submit their own details of their event, and officers will review and publish if it meets the required criteria.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'd just like to speak.
Sorry. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Are we?
Yep, you're right. Yep.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Gibbs and Mr. Parker for your work on making this website a reality and making it a lot more user-friendly. I'd just like to say that I'm looking forward to the website's use and capacity growing over time so that we can enable new modes of online engagement and facilitate greater transparency of council activities, and obviously the uploading of previous minutes of council meetings is an important component of that. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Hewitt.
Thank you, Councillor Hewitt. Any other comments? No? Yeah, it's good. It's good. Thank you. If not, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you. So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Well done. Councillors, item 16, authorisation of signing and sealing of documents. There are no reports to consider. Questions without notice, status update. There are no questions without notice outstanding. 17.2 questions without notice. Councillors, do we have any questions without notice? We have no questions without notice. Thank you. Item 18, list of council meetings. We have those listed below. We have the budget submissions hearing on the Wednesday, the 2nd of June. Planning review meeting if required on the 9th of June, and the next ordinary council meeting will be on the 23rd of June. Item 19, closed session or meeting. There is a recommendation there in accordance with the sections 66(1) and 66(2)A of the Local Government Act. The meeting be closed to the members of public for consideration of the following confidential items. 19.1, confirmation of the 28th of April 2021 confidential council meeting minutes. 19.2, Queensland boat ramp upgrade contract 2021-07. 19.3, regional renewable organic network heads of agreement. Can I get someone to move that motion?
Yep.
Councillor Salter, Councillor Hewitt, thank you. All those in favour?
Yep.
Thank you. Confirmation for the Councillor Solder. Item 20, ratification of confidential items.
That the decision to be made in camera be ratified by council. Moved.
Moved by Councillor Solder, second by Councillor Hewitt. All those in favour?
Yep.
Thank you. Item 21, a close the meeting. The meeting is closed, Mr. CEO, 7:59.